check on this print before I go. Yep, everything looks okay there. I'm doing some storage bins for my toolbox. So I figured I would do a real-time hike up to the spring to show you guys what that's like. And I currently have the GoPro plugged into a battery pack because it was flat empty when I found it. So here's the turbine pit that you guys all know about. And there's the rocker gravity amplifier pump thing. Still disconnected. Still have a giant hole blown through there, through that hose. So until I get some new hose, I can't really do anything with it. And then one of my viewers sent me some hydraulic lifters for the lid, so I don't just have to lift it manually like this. And I haven't put those on yet. I just haven't done a whole lot with this. Water's currently hooked up to my sprinkler system in the yard, running 10 minutes every hour. And that's working pretty good. We haven't had an appreciable rain for like 2 months now. And I'm trying to grow grass in my backyard. I've been trying for 2 years now. You can see the ducks over there. They're happy. I need to build a bigger pond for them. Probably right there. And everything here is bone dry. Plenty of poison ivy here, so I just gotta steer clear of that. And here's my penstock. I'm up about 40 or 50 feet right here from the spring. And I could follow that up, but it's way too steep to walk. So I go a different way here that follows these old logging roads up. And it's a lot easier. You'll probably be hearing my breathing a lot. It's because I'm overweight and out of shape. And I haven't done this hike for 4 months now. I haven't been up to the spring in many months. So this is all my neighbor's property, and he's rented an excavator a few times, and he's working on putting in a quite extensive mountain bike course. A downhill mountain bike course. Ah, cobweb. Let me just check you real quick. There we go. Had some dust on there. My text notification is Keanu Reeves saying, "Whoa." Let's see. So right up, and we're back. Apparently you can't lock your phone and unlock your phone and have the app work. Come on, GoPro. Anyways, up there, let's get my finger in the right spot. Right there is a concrete cistern. I did a video on that earlier, and I think that the spring that I used did feed that and then went down to different properties here decades ago. And this is all pretty well developed now. It used to be a pretty rough ride on the four-wheeler. Now it's looking pretty sedate, I'd say, so far. Well, they've got some trails all over the place. All that's new. A nice place up here in the woods for campfires. Look at that trail over there. Oh, that's pretty gnarly. All right. So that was all relatively sedate stuff. And then this here is steep. So I'm gonna have to pause a few times to catch my breath, I'm sure. Although I now have that tractor, I bet that tractor could climb this without a sweat. Oh, that's a new trail too. Look at that. And it's cutting right across the hillside. Oh, here's a good spot for a break. So, mountain bike course comes from way up there. Nice little jump across this logging road and down there, and that's the one that we just saw going that way. I mean, liability aside, it's a pretty nice course. He could probably charge some money for it, for access. But that's not his goal. So I've determined it takes about 15 minutes to walk up and 9 minutes to walk down. I don't know what time we're at now, probably 10 minutes. But I was stopping and talking to you guys about stuff too. Point you up a little bit more because it seems like I'm just going up. See, if we look straight out horizontal, that's straight out horizontal right there. So I have to look up for you guys to see where I'm going. Normally I look down to see where my feet are planted, but it's so dry, there's nothing to slip on, as often this would be covered in water. Because there's another secondary little spring just up here on the left that I've thought about maybe tapping into, but I'm afraid that it's too high up. Oh, got a stick. All right. Okay. You can see there's some wet ground here, evidence of that spring up there. Another little break time. Whoa. All right, pause for a phone call. Show me the freaking preview. And we're back. Wife was asking about luggage. All right, so we're going to the spring there in a little bit, but we're taking a detour. Hi, Shelby. We're taking a detour to see what that other spring looks like, to see if it was actually developed at all. Because we're here and I've never actually done it, so come along for the walk. Also, it looks like there's a nice little deer trail here. All right, looks like we have some wet ground down in here, and definitely not wet there. So if I dug out here, just looking at my system over there, I would be about 5 feet below my collection system over there. So in reality, I would have to dig in really far as this goes higher to find where it comes out of the hill to go into the collection system. And it looks like, yeah, sure, let's keep going. Verify there's no other spring outlets. The only other outlet could have been like right here. Just pointing you guys back up a little bit. The only other outlet could have been like right here. There's a mound of dirt from presumably a tree. And that ditch only comes up right to there. All right. Said we'll keep walking because I see they installed another trail over here. As long as I can get to it. A lot of stuff in the way. Whoa. Okay. So it comes down from the power lines over there, down here, and back up there a bit. Okay. Interesting. We can go back over to, let's see, the spring was right there that I was discovering, and there's nothing here that makes me think that it might have been dug out when they were digging this trail. So it's a non-viable source of water. Did you find a chipmunk? She loves chipmunks. All right, I think easiest way back is here. Oh, that's a cool pattern on that rock. All right. Going back to the spring that I use. I don't want to say it's my spring because it's not on my property. I have permission to use it. All right, so we got, here's a corner post here, and the property line goes down that way. So the spring is actually on somebody else's property, and then the penstock runs across my neighbor's property with all the mountain bike trails. Okay, so penstock comes up, there's a rock here, and then there's a cable here that holds the penstock up. And I have that anchored to an old piece of pipe under this giant pile of rocks. And it comes up here to the barrel. And here's my spring. This is all the flow there is coming out of it. And I have this piece of pipe that goes to, you guys can't see it because of the reflections, goes to the valve here that if I need to shut off, come on, there we go, it's a little bit twisted. If I need to shut off the penstock from up here, I can do it with this pipe on that valve that's down in there. So, and I keep putting that on, but something keeps taking it off. I don't know if it's a person or a bear or something. I don't know why they'd need to. They have all the water they need right there. So that's the amount that I have leaking by. It's drip, 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 drip. Not very much compared to that, but the water's also really low. When the water's higher, when the water's higher coming out of the spring, it actually loses a little bit more. I might need to rebuild some of that in there. Go up and check the collection area. So down under that pile of rocks there is an old foundation that was for an old collection system for the spring, but then somebody dug it further up in here and built another collection thing, and then I dug further up in there to collect it from even higher yet. And you can see I haven't been here because it's all covered up with, come on, get off me, all covered up with whatever these, I call them creek bank weeds of some sort. Somebody probably knows what those are. So the water used to go into that bucket down there under the rock and then out to that other bucket over there. But now I get the water from up in there, and looks like a bunch of dirt here. You guys can't see. There. A bunch of dirt there has fallen down, so I'll need to dig that out. The whole intention was to fill this with gravel and then fill the face of it with stacked rocks so it looks natural coming out of the hillside. Stacked rocks like all of these ones here. But I just never got to it. Been busy doing other things, or just not having the motivation or energy to do it. It's a common problem with me, actually. Just lack of motivation. Let's see if there's any berries up here. I don't see any berries. Nope. All right. So that's the spring. You can see that the water flow is very low, so it'd be hard. I'd be hard pressed to find a I'd be hard pressed to make a nozzle that'll flow that amount in gallons per minute at 117 psi. There's a little bit of silt down there, but not a whole lot. Get off of me, jeez, fly. And I need to put a proper, did I get you that time? I need to put a proper lid on this and then a proper overflow. And then there's a viewer that's been working on a measuring system that will measure the flow of water in the pipe and the height of water in there, so I could appropriately meter the nozzles or jets that I'm using on the turbine. So I'll use 100% of the water that's available to me, but no more and no less. So I guess I'll just put this back in place, this lid that has come off, has been taken off. I'll tie my shoe first. Make sure the camera's recording the right thing here. Okay, if I keep my head pointed in that direction, it's okay. This isn't a great piece of cover, but it's the one that I have out of that pile of junk that fits. It could be getting blown off, but I kind of doubt it. All right, that'll keep the leaves and the seeds and all that stuff from going in there, which I've previously had problems with. Let's put another rock on it, just on this side here. There we go. Okay. So these are power lines, and I'm about halfway up the hill, so the hill keeps going up that way. And I walked up on a logging road on that side, and then you can also see there's a piece of pipe here that goes down over here. I'm actually just gonna come up here because it's easier. And I probably could get access, there's a little bit of a road here. I could probably get access to right here to service the spring if I wanted to via the other neighbor's road. And he'd probably be okay with that. So I'm just gonna walk back down now on this other side. Maybe chat about some interesting things if I can think of anything that's interesting to chat about. So the first few times I came up here, I had actually been walking up this side, but there's not an easy way to get to the bottom of this trail from my house down there. And that black plastic pipe does come along here. I have found evidence of it further down this logging road. Can you tell it's fall? We've gotten some leaves on the ground. Usually this would be all brown dirt like a week ago. But now we have some leaves that are changing. So this part of the hillside is fairly steep, and I'm going down at a diagonal, so it's less steep, but it's still pretty darn steep to walk on. And you can look there, see that slope going down. So yeah, this pipe that goes down I found a collection bin down there maybe a while ago. I don't remember that well. It was like 3 or 4 years ago that I found that. And so clearly that spring had been supplying multiple properties along the bottom of this hillside with water. This is a major road in the area and probably had some sort of established housing or commercial presence back in the 1800s, maybe even the 1700s. I'm not exactly sure about the local history here. And some of the pipe that I found wasn't even that black plastic pipe. Some of the pipe that goes out of that spring is galvanized or even iron pipe, or maybe it's galvanized pipe that has had the galvanizing wear off, corrode away. I started a little side business. If you're in this part of the video, you probably would care about that sort of thing. It's called Steep and Deep Grounds Care. I have a Facebook page, so go check that out, like it, but please don't leave any reviews unless you're a client. Well, that's trying to get down to this horizontal logging road here that's extra steep on this little bit. So that's Steep and Deep Grounds Care. I've always had an, oh, come on. I've always had an interest in kind of like brush hogging or mowing of ridiculous stuff. And so I got that Steiner tractor, which will be used for that sort of mowing, both wet ground and steep ground. Unfortunately, right now I don't have a deck that's really meant for brush cutting. Yeah, we can walk to the end of this logging road. So no deck meant for brush cutting. So I don't have a good way of doing some of the more gnarly stuff that I could get in this area. And clearly we have some steep hills and wet areas too. It's not like Iowa here. All right, so this logging road comes up about as far as, oh, we can walk over to my penstock and take a look at it. Clearly this is as far as they needed to go because the spring makes this entire area very wet. And the logging road actually picks up on the other side, so they just skipped this section. And now I'm on a deer trail. There's deer trails all across this hillside. All right, so here's the penstock. It's full of water. It's a little bit taut and suspended. You can see it shaking a little bit because it's under tension. It's not laying on the ground. It's kind of suspended. I can walk over to the other side of the logging road here because it's pretty clear and there's a nice deer trail. So there's where the logging road ends on the other side. And then, whoa, okay, let's go look at this because it's interesting. Yeah, penstock just keeps running down there. It's the shortest path that I could find. It might deviate like 5 or 10 feet off the shortest path. But as a whole, there's probably only an additional 10 feet of penstock from a direct line, shortest path as the crow flies. All right, this is a pretty gnarly turn here. All right, look at that. you guys probably don't have a whole lot of context here to see how ridiculous this looks. But between that point there, all right, let's go there, and down there is a good 10 feet of elevation change around this bend. It's a pretty cool trail. All right, we can go back this way. It looks like, oh, yep, there's another deer trail. Try to stay on point with this video. But somebody was asking about the mountain bike course, so there you go. Sorry I'm not talking a lot. A lot of this walking actually takes quite a bit of focus, so I don't twist an ankle or slip and break a wrist. And after having pulled this penstock up, pulling it up was definitely the correct way, because I wouldn't have wanted to wrestle with an 80-pound, 6-foot diameter coil of pipe down through these woods. And really the winch system that I used to winch it up worked fantastic. And I have to be really careful what trees I grab onto, because some of them have sharp points. Locust trees, I think. I'm sliding down here. Last fall I raked a bunch of leaves over the penstock, and either wildlife or rot or wind or rain or something uncovered a lot of the pipe. So it's a good thing I came up here. Once some more leaves fall, I'm gonna have to come up and rake a bunch of leaves onto the penstock again. And that'll prevent it from freezing, because it didn't freeze at all last winter, so I never had freezing problems. But I also had to be careful that I kept it flowing all year. I mean, all season, all winter. Whoa, slippy. It's a lot easier to walk down along it than up it, that's for sure. When I first discovered this spring, I kept, well, first it was in the ditch on my property there, and I kept going higher, and I found where it comes out of the hillside there, but really it's just the water diving down underground a few times. And there was one time where it was naturally creating a waterfall off of the face of this stump here. That was many years ago. We can see now that the stump is mostly rotten behind it. So obviously can't do that now. When I walk up, there's this fun little, I guess it's analogous to a meadow. It's just a big patch of ferns and underbrush and jaggers that I presume came from like when a tree fell and opened up the canopy. But now the canopy I'm realizing is covering up here. So there's not a whole lot growing. All right, here we're back on the logging road. I was talking about the spring that's down here. I had dug up here when I was first exploring this, and I thought it was coming out here, but it's just because the spring goes through the surface ground over top of whatever it's not bedrock, bed clay, whatever the base material is in this area. It is mostly clay, I believe. So that gravity booster, that's the barrel there that I was pumping the water into, and it's still full. I haven't used that water for anything. I don't actually walk this very often. It could just be that it doesn't get enough light to grow things, or I suspect that it's a highway for animals like bear and coyotes and deer and other little critters, because otherwise you're going through this ditch here or more ditches up there. All right, let's go see if there's any eggs. About once a day I have to fill up the duck water. There you can see how brown it is. I have to fill up the duck water with fresh water out of the spring. Hey, there's a girl in there. All right, I don't see any other eggs. We can look over here. So we'll leave you be undisturbed. And there's the quiet sprinkler I was talking about last time. This is just an area outside of where my normal sprinkler can get to. So I'm trying to grow the grass here so that in the winter it's grass and not mud when we go to service the chicken coop. And so under there is my Steiner tractor and all my Steiner stuff. And here's my truck. I'm looking to get a new truck. Maybe a 2018 or so Toyota Tundra. Long bed, extended cab is what I need for now. And we're back. Okay, we're back in my shop. You have seen what you wanted to see. I hope that was long enough for you. Goodbye. Like, comment, subscribe. Contribute through monetary options below if you desire. You know, whatever.